Welcome into Sosa's Steam Room. Today we are celebrating the Cubs going to the World Series, the Blackhawks penalty kill struggles, the Bears-Packers beat down, and we welcome Vijay Vemu to the podcast to talk some Bulls. Hit it. What's up, everybody? My name is Drew Edstrom, and the other co-host of this podcast is Blake Van Pocky. Blake, what's up, dude?
How's it going?
You know, it goes every day, and
goes every day.
I'm feeling real good today, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But
I bet I could guess.
I bet you could guess.
But
you'll have to wait to guess for like 2 seconds.
Keep going.
But welcome into episode 21 of Sosa's Steam Room. That's right, we were 21 years young today. A couple things you need to know. For advertising inquiries, or if you want to send us some questions, email us at sosasteamroom@gmail.com. We have a Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram account. Just search Sosa's Steam Room. Subscribe and rate our podcast on Stitcher as well as iTunes. If you want to listen to us on the go, you can open up the podcast app on your iPhone, or you can download the Stitcher app for Android and or iPhone, or any other phone that you have. We also have some personal Twitter accounts, myself at DN Edstrom, and Blake, your Twitter handle?
Soldier Field BLG.
Soldier Field BLG.
The classic.
The classic BLG. And of course, we have our new revamped website, sosasteamroom.com.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Blake, the Cubs are going to the World Series.
It's still surreal.
First question before we get into anything else. Did you cry?
No, I did not cry yet. Keyword there, yet. We'll see what happens this week, but no crying yet. There's no crying in baseball.
Well, talk to Bill Murray about that because he was sobbing like a baby, and I
did see that.
I was all about that.
Yeah, that was cool to see.
Well, I actually the night that they won the NLCS, I can't. Was it Saturday? Saturday night? Yeah, Saturday night. Okay, I had to work till about 9:30 p.m. So basically, right up until the moment that they won. So I recorded the whole game. Turned my phone off the whole night, went and watched the whole thing in its entirety, and I sat by myself and watched this thing, and none of it got ruined for me. My coworkers knew.
That's not easy to do. That's not easy to pull off.
I was very nervous. And I was extremely cutthroat. Like if someone were to bring up the Cubs, like, nope, don't do it. Stop it right now.
That's how you gotta play it. You gotta let everyone know. You gotta set the ground rules, and then you gotta execute.
Yeah, well, I executed well.
Nice.
Yeah, so I just watched the game by myself, and then as soon as Andrew Tolles made that error on the Dodgers side of things, I just knew it was going to be a good night.
Yep.
And so I watched this thing in the ninth inning. I'm sitting there, and I'm just watching this unfold, and I'm just all these memories are just rushing into my head of watching the Cubs with old relatives or close friends, or hanging out with you and watching it. And I got pretty emotional. It wasn't like me crying uncontrollably, but it was me tearing up quite a bit.
The feels hit you?
Oh, man, they hit me hard. I started thinking of my grandparents and all that stuff, and as soon as you start thinking about that,
it's over.
It's downhill. I was just thinking of my grandfather the whole time, and just how he's the reason why I'm a Cubs fan. And it really hit me hard. It really did.
No, I mean that happened to tons of people. So many people have stories and just connections to the Cubs organization. So, I saw it all over the place.
it's still very surreal. It's like
It really is. It's hard to put into words right now because like it's just something even this year, all year, you see this team dominating, but you're like, you still don't really like, I don't know. I expect it to happen, but when it happens, it's still like one of those weird moments where you kind of have to step back and realize what is actually happening.
Yeah, I live in a pretty unique place up in the Upper Peninsula. So after I was done watching the game, it was actually at a house close by because I don't have cable or anything like that. And someone was kind enough to let me record it and watch it at their house, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking down the street back to where I live, and it is pitch black. And in the UP, you can just see the stars. And I'm just walking down the street looking up, and I'm just like, this is incredible. Like, I will remember this night for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then my sister was up here waiting for me, so that was cool. So I got to talk to her about it and experience that with her. And it's a very surreal thing. And I think I've said out loud the Cubs are going to the World Series at least like 70 times.
Yeah.
Just like, oh my goodness.
I've watched the highlights like probably 30 times since it happened.
How many times have you listened to Pat Hughes' call?
I listened to the Pat Hughes call so many times already. I want it to be like my alarm clock in the morning. It makes me so happy to hear Pat Hughes say that. That was one of the things I really wanted to like for as a Cubs fan who's like listened to Pat Hughes for a long time. It was just nice to hear him finally get to say it,
Absolutely. Our Randall Sanders on Twitter does a great job of extracting that audio and putting it out there for the public. So people who maybe didn't listen to Pat Hughes' call, they get a chance to relive that moment. And it's super cool. So shout out to Randall. He put it up there. And I think I've listened to like that SoundCloud bite at least a billion times.
Yeah, me too, man. It's been crazy.
I know.
It's just,
my gosh.
It's like I said, it's hard to put into words because it's such a historic moment for the city of Chicago and for Cubs fans. So, to kind of like try and wrap it up, it's hard, but we're not done. They're not done yet.
No, they're not done yet. This is a good moment, but you got 4 more. You can't be satisfied with this.
And let me say this. I was in Wrigley on Saturday. I was at Sluggers. So my experience was a little bit different than yours. I'll say that. I was with pretty much every Cubs fan in the area.
Except for yours truly,
except for Drew. I sent him a text. I was like, hey, man, I wish you were here. But we'll be together this weekend, which will be cool.
I'll get to that in a second. Continue.
But like I said, I was in Wrigley. And just, seeing it kind of reminded me of how we felt a little bit after the Cardinals series last year. I don't want to say it's comparable at all, but like in the back of my mind, I was extremely happy, but I was also like, this is not the end goal. And I don't want to be the guy who's like, don't get excited over this humongous historic win, because absolutely you should celebrate it, but you can't lose sight of what is ahead of you. And that's a really good Cleveland Indians team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I am definitely today. I gave myself like 2 days to like properly like celebrate this win and to like appreciate it. And I kept having to like kind of tell myself like, all right, they got one more series to go. And tomorrow morning, or it's Monday night right now, so Tuesday morning you'll see me completely just freaking out over this series again. But it's not. I don't know if you feel like this too. There's also like a weird sense of calm over me. Maybe it's because it's not Tuesday yet. It's not game 1. But I feel so confident in this team's ability that there is just like a sense of calm that I haven't felt with a Cubs team ever.
Yeah, I mean, this team gives you that feeling. Like the players on the field never look rattled. Like this team never seems to be rattled by any situation. And I think that kind of reflects on the fans too. And when I see I see a guy like John Lester go out there, like when he's on the mound, I have no stress. Like I know he's gonna get the job done, and I know that nothing will get to him. And I feel like that's kind of like the moniker of the whole team, of the whole Cubs team, and the entire 2016 season.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I've really enjoyed this moment, and like we've said, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We don't want to. We have one more series to go, 4 more wins to go, and we have a whole other series ahead against a very good team that we'll break down in a little bit.
Yeah.
But this feels so good, man. It's really a feeling that I can't describe, and not being in Chicago for it has really hurt, but it's made me appreciate Chicago even more. So like you mentioned, I will be in Chicago this weekend. I texted Blake yesterday, and I'm like, hey, man, I don't know if you remember, but I'm coming down this weekend, and this could possibly be the best sports weekend of my life.
Absolutely.
So the Cubs, if they split one of the first 2 games in Cleveland, they'll come home for 3, and I will be in Chicago for all 3. So they could win it there if they split, or if they win the first 2, the chances are even greater. So that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday night, I'm going to Monday Night Football at Soldier Field, which, I mean, the Bears are abysmal, but it's always cool to go to a Bears game.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. So
cool.
It would be even sweeter if it was after a Cubs World Series victory.
Yes, it would.
And then the Bears would just, like, crush all my good vibes. But I doubt it, though, because if the Cubs do win the World Series,
I don't think anything will bring it down.
Seriously not. And, I'm hoping for a quick series so I can see it in Chicago. If not, it is what it is.
And I just want to say something real quick, kind of about just Wrigley in general. Like, just being, like, in that environment that night, like, and just being around so many happy people is something I'll take away for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
To, like, I turn around and someone's there just smiling, give me a hug. I've never met that person before. I met Sean Marion. He was wearing all Cubs gear. It was really random, but really cool. It was just like a really cool night. And I'm glad you'll be here next week to experience it. I know you were there for the Blackhawks when they won.
Mm-hmm.
But, I wasn't there at that exact moment, but I got a sense that the feeling is a lot different for the Cubs. And just like, I don't know, it's just, you feel this energy come from Wrigley right now, which is really cool.
I mean, to not be there with you guys and, like, people that I really care about, and, like, I got a voicemail. He's gonna hate that I say this on our show, but one of my old roommates named Carlton left me a voicemail, just him just extremely pumped up for this, like, about this win. Just like him, like, basically, like, cursing me out on the phone, but, like, just so excited. And he, like, just not being around some of my closest friends in Chicago and biggest Cubs fans has been super hard. But I know on this weekend is just going to be great.
We'll make up for all of it this weekend.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we'll get to watch the Cubs in the World Series together. Like, dream come true.
Speaking of that, I feel like it's about time that I bring the mic along with me, and we do a live podcast again this weekend at some point.
I like it.
And it just needs to happen. The long distance thing, it's cute and everything, but
maybe we could do like a post game.
We could. That'd be really fun. Really fun. We'll see what happens. But I also remember a time when I first